Okay, here we have a 2007 F150 with a 5.4 liter engine, and we have a problem where it's leaking oil. And what we're going to do is we're going to be replacing the oil filter adapter, which is directly behind this. The oil filter itself, as you can see, is leaking pretty significantly. So let's get started and we'll see how it goes. First thing we're going to do is we're going to drain the cooling system. And the way you do that is right on the bottom of the radiator. We're going to open up the drain valve, which is right up in here, and we're going to drain the antifreeze out of the car, and we'll get started. Another way to drain the antifreeze out is to do it from the top of the engine. And what I do is I put a hose down on the valve itself, the drain valve, and then just drain the antifreeze down into a bucket, because we have to remove the lower hose. And that's the drain valve right down here. You just open up that valve and let the system drain out thoroughly. Okay, while waiting for the antifreeze to finish draining out over here, we're going to remove the oil filter so we can gain access to the bolts behind there. So let's take the oil filter off. Okay, now that we've got the oil filter out of the way, I'm going to point to the hoses we have to take off up inside here. We have the lower radiator hose, which is right here. We have to take that off, and then we have to take this other hose off up on the top up here. That goes up to the reservoir where you fill it from. Then we make these clamps here. They make a special tool for it, and the tool looks something like this here. You can get it onto the clamp itself, and you can remove it a little bit easier than getting up there with pliers, but if you have to, you can use pliers. So let me show you how it goes, and we'll get started. Show you what's going on. I've got the hose clamp, relocated it, slid it back right over here, and now I'm just going to pry that hose off, and we're going to let it drain out, and then we're going to get the other one off. That's it right there. Okay? Just pry it out of the way, and then we'll do the upper one. Okay. What we're going to do is, we got those hoses disconnected up in the top there. We got both hoses off. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go underneath the truck, and we're going to disconnect the oil pressure switch. And I'll show you where that's located. It's actually up between the oil filter housing and the motor mount. It's going to be a little tough to see, but that's the switch up in here. And what you do is just press in on the side, and it just unplugs off of the switch. And then we're just going to take out a couple of the bolts and we're going to remove it. I'll show you how it goes. Okay, what I find is very difficult is taking out the bolts up here. Is not too bad. You can get in here and you can get most of them out going in through this way here. There's 3 of the 4 you can get out, but the 4th one is a little bit difficult. And the way I got to it is underneath the bottom of the truck, go in between the differential and the rack, the steering rack, and I got up there with a, I know it's going to be difficult to see, but I got up there with a ratchet, and I broke it loose, and now I'm in there with a 1/4 inch and able to unscrew it out with a 1/4 inch socket and extension, and it's coming out. So that's the easiest way to get to it. So Let me continue on it, and we'll see how it goes. This is the old housing. This is the old housing, and that's the new. And we're just going to switch over the oil filter stud here into the new one here, because it doesn't come with it. So we're going to switch it over, put the new gasket on the back, and then we're going to reinstall it. Okay. What I find is the easiest way to put it back in is to put the gasket back onto the housing, put the bolts through it, and then we put the housing back up there and we catch each one of the bolts. Don't tighten them tight, we're just going to snug them in, and then we'll tighten them later on. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, we're going to put the housing up into its location where it came from. And then what we're going to do is go in there with the ratchet from underneath the bottom right here. And we're going to catch the bolts up. It's hard to see, I know, but that's where we're going to catch them. We're going to get right through here with the 1/4 inch set and snug them all in there. And then we'll tighten it in, and we should be all set. Let's see how it goes. I know it's going to be a little difficult to see, but what I did is I caught each one of the bolts just by a couple of threads, and now once all of them are caught, we can tighten them all in and then reconnect everything. And that's again the way I went in. You can see my handle of my ratchet sticking down through there. That's the way I got 3 of the 4 bolts, and we're going to tighten them up and reconnect the hoses. And we'll see how it goes. Okay. Now that we have it all back together, I'm just going to show you real quick. We got all the hoses reattached right here with the clamp. This hose reattached here with the clamp. All the bolts are tight. And then we're just going to reinstall the oil filter. We're going to lower the car back down, fill it with antifreeze, and start it up. And that's it. I'll show you how it goes. In the oil filter, and we just move it through just a little bit of more oil. Okay, so that's pretty much what it's going to look like when it's all done. We're going to lower it down now, fill it with antifreeze, put some motor oil in it, and we're all done. Again, just remember the easiest way to get to these bolts is going to be to go underneath the vehicle, down underneath the differential, between the differential and the steering rack, and you can get up there with a long extension, and a ratchet, and that'll be it. Not too easy, but not bad with the proper tools.